Hey everybody, Scott Jansen here, back with another 100K coaching program student interview. Today we've got the amazing Asha, who's got an amazing story of how she started her coaching business and also what she was doing before she decided to become a coach and the things that she's doing now with an incredible niche. The great niche and the great thing about what Asha's doing with this niche, I hadn't heard of it before. I knew of it, but we really didn't have any coaches or therapists working on it. So I'm going to invite Asha very soon to talk about what her niche is, what she's doing with her clientele, how she's building her business, and how it all started for her. So Asha, first off, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Scott. I'm really excited. I've been watching a lot of these ones. So finally I'm on one. It means I'm on the right track.
Yeah, you've made it. Excellent. Well, look, let's start from the absolute start. And look, we had this conversation over our strategy call. It was a really cool place to start as a coach. But tell me about what was happening before you'd done the coaching thing. What were you doing in life? What was going on?
Yeah, so I was, for about 5 years, I was doing growth strategy and copywriting in blockchain, which is a tech industry. And my favorite part of the whole thing was actually the human side of it. And I always knew that I wanted to do one-on-one work. So when I quit my last job, I decided, you know what, it's time for a change. I have no idea what I want to do, but I want to do something that's completely unrelated and something where I can interact with one-on-one people and help. And so I was looking around, like, what do I do? How to start a business? I was thinking maybe I should just start my own business instead of doing freelancing that I've always done. So I actually, the only person I knew who knew how to teach how to start a business was this guy who I've been following for many, many years. In fact, he's the one of his courses was the one that taught me how to freelance in the first place.
Oh, so, wow. Okay.
So I'm like, you know what, this guy clearly has good material, but that was back in 2014. And he has this like New York bestseller, and he's very, very well known. And he's got like big celebs like Tim Ferriss on his show and all that stuff, you know? So naturally he has the cred. So I thought, okay, I'm gonna purchase this guy's course. And it was not a cheap course. Like it was like north of like, you know, 3K. And wow. It was just, but I was like, you know what, if this is going to get me, 3K is nothing in the grand scheme of things, right? Of course. So I did it. And I noticed very quickly that nothing seems to be working. I knew, you know, you do the whole process of figuring out what you're good at, which is great. And then you kind of narrow it down to see what can you actually do to help people, which is great. But that is the extent. After that, the advice given was so, like, it felt very outdated. It felt very outdated. Nothing was working, especially because I knew that I initially wanted to start off as a relationship coach. So that was where I wanted to start off. Mm-hmm. And it was just not fruitful. It didn't feel like I was going anywhere with it. I felt like I was left in the dark. And even they had a Facebook group, and even that was dead. It was just everyone was a beginner asking beginner questions. And sometimes it'll take days for anyone to respond. Something where like, it was like thousands of people in the group. Mm-hmm. So that made no sense. And I felt very much left in the dark. So I was very sick and tired, and I was kind of felt like, you know, I'm not going to blame the whole thing on the course. Maybe I'm just not doing something right. And I'm in a lot of these female entrepreneur groups. So I just happened to see, so I think one of your students added me. Mm-hmm. And I was like, you know what, I'm just going to why not? And it's a very common occurrence. And I noticed one of the comments in a random post. I just happened to, on one random night, see that she said, oh, I made this amount of money. I'm a coach and I made this amount of money in the last 6 weeks. If you want to know that, get in touch with me. And at this point, I was just like, you know what? There's just so many people who, no offense, there's so many, like so much a scam out there. So many people are just, you know, they just give you such fluff information, random information that maybe just worked for them, and they think now they can just use that to monetize. Yeah. So many of that. But I was at my wit's end. I was like, why not? Let's try it out. So I reached out to her, and since she was already my friend, I was like, you know what, might as well. And I mean, it was funny because the entire time I was like, I don't trust anything that's coming. I don't know. I just don't feel so safe with this, right? And then she said, you know, actually, instead of me helping you, you should go to my business mentor. He is absolutely amazing. And he links you. And I'm not going to lie, I was still very skeptical. I was like, yeah, okay, sure. Every video I watched, I was like, sure. Every testimonial I watched, I was like, yeah, sure. Because there's so much out there that just didn't help. I mean, I worked with this guy who has, you know, all these accolades, and yet nothing happened.
A
So
bad product. Yeah.
I've never heard of. I researched your name. I couldn't find anything about you outside of your network, which was already very sketchy. But I was like, I gotta give this a shot anyway.
Yeah. I think that's what happens when and I get it, a lot of these guru and expert coaches go out there, but they spend more time building their brand than building a good product. Hence, the course you were on didn't really do much for you. So during that course, what you were trying to get away from doing the freelancing thing into becoming a relationship coach. How did you land on that sort of niche?
So, so this is a big thing. I was I had relationships was sort of my thing. And even though I was working, I was very much the relationship girl for all these years, whether it's giving advice or trying out, certain things or having certain type of relationships myself. Everyone would come to me. I loved everyone I meet, everyone I worked with, just breaking down their personal understand and making building great rapport between people. And I just really enjoyed that. So when I said relationship coach, everyone around me was like, yeah, of course, that makes sense for this girl. So that's why it was almost like a natural. It was almost like I was always meant to do it. And more specifically, I was always meant to work one-on-one with people and in a place where I can understand how they function. And it was always like this. I was good at my job. In my previous job, I was good at what I was doing. But if I wasn't doing that 24 hours, if after my work I was spending time doing something else, then that's really it's a job. It's not really what I want to do. So I figured that since what am I constantly doing in my head? What's the work I'm constantly putting when I'm not working? And I was like, that's what I want to be doing full time, because that's what I'm going to be best at, because I'm spending all my time doing it. You know what I mean? It's always on. So that's why it was like straight away relationship coach.
Okay. So you joined that other course, and what type of stuff were you doing? Like, were you doing social media? How was it taught to get clients?
So, don't bring me back there. So the strategy was very much go out there and meet people to get to know them. So go to meetup groups and get to interact one-on-one with your clients, potential clients. So, meetup groups, Facebook groups, anything that's in person, and then start interviewing them. And I did that, and that was okay. I mean, it's good advice. It's great advice to get to know your client one-on-one and on a more intimate level, sure. But then the next step was actually to write amazing content, which is good, but it was write amazing content. It was producing articles that were really well made and pitching them to blogs. So that's where everything kind of just fell apart. I was like, it hung for a while. Okay, that's where it kind of fell apart, because in my previous job, my forte was to send cold pitches and emails, right? So I knew what I was doing, but the problem was in this angle with the response rates I was getting, it was so obvious that it was just so highly saturated that this wasn't something that it's not a new thing. And when it just wasn't effective whatsoever. It felt like, it was completely saturated, and that was kind of the plan. Apart from there's no other strategy. You kind of just get, you write on, you get guest blogs, and then you get clients from there. I suppose that's how you just build up. You put your name out there, which is, like I said, it would have worked. And it was actually, there's a whole drama regarding that, because eventually I think a lot of people out and said, hey, this course isn't very effective. So he came up with a new course, but also charged for that one, which was, he said 50%. All your course didn't even work. And turns out it was, the course was 6 years old. So for 6 years, the strategies were not, improved, updated whatsoever. So yeah, in 2014, I'm sure sending guest blogs and stuff like that would have worked very well. But now it's like that's way too saturated. So that's what we were doing. It was very much long game.
Yeah, I think blogs are a very long-term strategy, but man, blogs went out like 10 years ago. And even then, you can't just blog. You've got to be good at SEO. You've got to have the right content. You have to guest blog. You have to have people share your stuff. that is a very long-term strategy, but not one that's effective immediately.
Absolutely. And so that's why it really, it felt like, and I didn't know, I mean, this is the guru in business for a lot of people. So
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I guess this is the only way. I'm not afraid if it's hard, because I mean, this business is supposed to be hard. So sure. But the really, the last thing I wanted to feel was that I'm doing the wrong thing. I'm wasting my time. That was just like why I spent like 6 months of runway just to deal with this, and that's not even have learned anything except that's not the right thing to do.
Right. So was there anything about picking your niche or putting together your product, pricing, or anything like that?
Yeah, there was, the whole process of sitting down, figuring out what you're good at, and asking, he'll ask a bunch of questions that you have to answer, and I thought it was pretty well done. It was interesting. I mean, that's why I got so hyped up, because there was the process of figuring out your product, seeing if there's a market. But frankly, if I'm going to compare it to yours, I mean, that it's not even it's not comparable. Like, I mean, this is 2014 we're talking about, and even then, for 2014, I feel like, I can't comment for then, because then I'm not sure how the landscape was back then.
Right. Yeah.
But definitely compared to now, it's just not very effective, because after you figured out what you're good at, even the meeting people, it's just you're creating an online business and you're asking me to go meet up people. That's just so time consuming. I mean, sure, but the fact that you could have, in the way you do it, you're just like, you don't need to leave the house and go to so many meetups, and you know how time consuming that is, and it was just really outdated. So
okay. So you were going through the course, wasn't really meeting your expectation. What happened next? When did you think, okay, I've got to change my niche? Or did you think I've got to try something totally new? I've got to go get another job? What was happening?
It was, I think it's because I was flattened out. I was looking at I was at a product week 3 or something like that. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So I was at the week where it was just about pricing and product. How will you make your product? And I'm gonna be honest, it's very vague, and kind of everything was just kind of confusing for me. It wasn't very clear cut, and I didn't know if business was supposed to be that convoluted. And so I was falling off the wagon. Like, I just wasn't doing the things I was supposed to be doing, because none of it was fruitful. I wasn't getting any quick wins. It was just weird. It was just so I wasn't even looking for a business coach. I wasn't looking for another product. I was just like, I spent 3K on this guy. How can anyone else help me? So it was more like, I think I kind of was just looking through all these Facebook groups, trying to see if there was anyone I could reach out to, or anyone I could learn from, just from their way they do their work, rather than learn from what they have to say. Because suddenly I became so apprehensive towards learning from someone, because I felt like everyone's going to cheat me.
So that was 2014. I mean, you joined my program 2020. What were you doing in between that space of time?
No, 2014. No. That was last year.
Okay, I'm with you.
That was last year. 2014 was when he created that product.
Gotcha. I'm with you now. Okay, so that was last year. You took the course. Wasn't working out. Like, was there like a space in time between that where you thought, you know what, I'm going to give this up. I'm going to go back to doing freelancing, or did you just go, you know what, this is what I want to do?
No. I didn't even know what I was going to do, but I was like, I'm not going back to that world, because I felt like I need to be using my brain. Like, I need to be doing a thing that I know I'm really good at. And I can't go back to that world anymore. Even though, like I built up a great resume, and I was actually like, I made a name for myself in that industry. But I was like, nah, I don't think, I want it to be, I was set. My mind was set. I'm just going to do this. Next 20 years, it's going to be this.
So yeah, I remember all these things on the strategy call as well. And yeah, you were hesitant, and I don't blame you. I heard this story. You told me about all these things, and it's pretty typical. The amount of people that we speak to saying, I've done this course, done that, a lot of things, but now you're realizing like business does require a lot of effort. But like you said, you can put the effort in, but it still has to give you wins. You still have to be getting someone to be. You don't want to just doing stuff for the sake of it. So we did our strategy call. What were you hoping to get out of the call?
Frankly, okay, by the time I got to your call, I already had watched a ton of your videos. So you didn't even need to. You just needed to give me your PayPal link. I mean, like that was it. Like I didn't actually need anything else. Like your testimonials were just like too good to be true. So that's a problem, right? It was so good to be true that I was like, yeah, sure,
And
okay.
now you're doing one of them.
But it was the content. Yeah, it's crazy. So, but it was your content. Your content was amazing, and it was just so unique and effective. And something that really did well for me on that front was because I actually, part of my work involved teaching this personality model called the Enneagram. And I have this Instagram page, which I grew to like 4,000 people in 5 months. And that was through using Facebook, right? And so when I saw your videos and you were touching on Facebook so much, it kind of hit, I was like, that seems really, new. I've never heard anyone think about it that way. And because I had already had it kind of validated with this Instagram thing, because beforehand, I thought Facebook was just for old people. I felt like no one was using Facebook. And so I felt like it was just for people in their 50s, 60s to connect and share dog pictures or something like that. I don't know what it was. So to finally see someone mention that, it was kind of like everything you were saying was so different. Plus, it was already kind of validated through my own experience. So when I got on the strategy call with you, it was all about how can I just give you the money and start. It wasn't that, and like, how do I get to talk to this genius as well? It's just about the opportunity, really.
Yeah, very cool. So you dived into the 100K coaching program, dived into week 1, where, as a lot of people heard me say this, we talk about niching, pricing, your MOS service, putting together like your product. What's interesting is the difference in niche. Tell me about what happened with that from you, because you came into this and you said on the phone call, I want to do like the relationship niche. Now what you're working with is totally different. Like, how did you come to this niche, and what did you find out during the research phase?
So I started off with relationships. Then I went to women in business, or like women who were doing what I used to do for 5 years. But it's the thing, right? Like, I felt like I've learned so much. I'm so much, considering I've done so much in those 5 years of my life, and I'm relatively young. I felt, that the combination of experience plus the unique factor of how young I am meant that I could give so much value to people, so they can progress their career. But turns out, a lot of people think, well, right? So I went, when I was doing the niching, I was like doing the 15-minute calls. I felt this is the problem. And I felt so clear I felt so like motivated to help people, but I didn't really know what I was going to help with specifically. I just knew that when they would give me a question, I would have an answer. But just that, because of that, that was a big problem already. Because, I was like, just because I know I can answer that question doesn't mean that that's, how can I create a product when I don't know what they're going to ask me? I mean,
that's right.
So when I was doing all these interviews with these women, they were also, because they're in the entrepreneur niche, they're constantly being sold to. And because I don't have a very strong product about what I was going to deliver, it felt like I was just, the whole time I was just questioning my own niche. I was just like, I was questioning my own niche. I didn't know on the calls, what would I deliver? What is the end product? Like you always said, what is the end transformation you're going to give? And I was like, I guess they would be more confident, but I'm like, that's so intangible. What an intangible thing is the only thing that they're going to get. And so when it came to that niche, I quickly realized, I also had to poke around a bit. And then eventually I talked to one of your students, Giuseppe, and he was like, no, it's not gonna, I don't even understand what you're doing.
Yeah.
And this is the most amazing part, right? It's the community. It's just everyone's so helpful. I don't even know like how you have like the Midas touch or something like that. Whatever it is, like how you got that everyone in that group to be so helpful to each other, no matter what level they're at. That is something that I cannot even. That requires a course on its own, to be honest.
Yes, it does. Yeah.
and so he told me as well, like, okay, the niche might not be so strong because you don't even know what you're gonna offer them.
That's right. That's the only thing that matters. If you can't get this end result properly, you can't sell something you're not confident in, because it has to, like you said, it has to be tangible. It has to be something that they can feel or experience. It's not just, well, you'll sort of feel this or you'll sort of have that. That stuff doesn't sell.
Absolutely. So I immediately went back to the drawing board. I mean, I knew I could do relationships, but frankly, from the little I've done before in terms of, you know, interviews and everything like that, I don't think I have the the ability to tolerate to handle that emotional amount. Like that one, it requires a lot, and people have a lot to say and a lot to talk about. And I so that one I didn't want to go back to just yet. So I was thinking, okay, back to the drawing board. What can I do? Who can I target? And I noticed a lot of people who were targeting, who were in your program, were targeting anxiety. And I was thinking, I don't know much about anxiety. And then I realized, wait, I actually do know about anxiety. I would never have considered, I have forgotten that I had bad anxiety, like growing up, like such bad anxiety. But I didn't even consider the anxiety. I just didn't even put a name in my head. And then I realized, oh wait, actually, why am I forgetting it? Like it's like it felt like a past life that I had extreme social anxiety. And then I was like, oh my goodness, I actually I had that. It was so bad. And I thought, okay, that's probably, like, I didn't realize how much work I put in everything. And that was tangible stuff, because everything from how to have a conversation with someone, how to make eye contact, that was all everything I had to learn and teach myself. That was a structured format to all of this. And I just did it for myself and didn't realize that, oh my goodness, this is actually good stuff that I could share with people. So I was thinking, okay, I started doing the thing where I went online and Facebook groups, and there were so many social anxiety support groups. They know, like, there's so few entrepreneurial women having low confidence support groups. Okay, there's so many. And I was like, oh my god, this is correct. This is what I suppose. Everything's falling into place. So once I knew there were support groups, then I was now, okay, people know they have a problem. And they know what the problem is.
So how do, I guess for yourself as well, like, how do these people describe social anxiety? What is it exactly?
Yeah, social anxiety is just this absolute fear of being around people and not being able to, like, it starts off basically when you are doing something very normal socially, whether it's like just talking to someone, talking to an acquaintance, going to interact with the cash register, like the cashier, the cash register, something so simple that just involves a human, that your brain suddenly just is unable to process it normally. You start worrying. You're like, what am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to look at them? Am I being weird? And that's when you realize, why is this not coming to me naturally? And that's what happened to me very quick. I was like, why is none of this coming naturally? And why am I overthinking? Why am I noticing all these little things? And I have no idea if I'm being weird or not. And so it is this, like, socially, it seems like growing up, I thought I was just very socially inept. And in school, I was just a very weird kid. And I had such bad social anxiety that I just couldn't go to school altogether eventually. I would, I categorize it, I summarize it very clearly in one of my videos. It's called, it's a lack of basic intuitive social skills. It is an inability to know how people perceive you, and it hyper aware of situations, and you're not sure how to process all of those information. So that's what social anxiety is.
Wow. So now that you chose this niche and you found, obviously, there's real people with a real problem, because you were once one of them, you started to put your product together. You and me had a couple of strategy calls back and forward to really nail this thing. You then would have moved into week 2, where you start to become more vocal about it. You start to use social media in a way where clients find you, they see your content, they're looking at Facebook and YouTube. How did you go about creating your content, and what did you start to notice as soon as you started to talk about this very, very specific niche market?
One thing was, the first video I made, so I did a bunch of interviews, right, to figure out if this was a thing. And it was so clear that the first thing that all these people felt was they felt like no one knows who they are. It's
Right.
such an untouched niche, and that was what I was immediately. I got a hang of it, because these people have been going to therapy, seeing psychiatrists, seeing psychologists, and somehow they feel like yet none of these people understand social anxiety in specific. They
Right.
just be treated for general anxiety disorder or other panic, but not social anxiety. So quickly I realized, wow, people who struggle with social anxiety feel like they have no one who understands them. And so immediately I decided, okay, going to week 2, the first video I'm going to make is a video saying I know what that feels like. So it was literally what social anxiety feels like. I did a strategy you told me in the course, figuring out the keywords, figuring out if that's something that's good. And first video I posted on it, and I just shared it across wherever I can. And that became like a hit. Like I grew from like 10 subscribers to like 70 subscribers. And right now, 2 weeks after I posted it, it's got like 1,000 views, which is great. So I immediately knew, people were commenting saying, I really needed this video. I'm so happy. I really like that someone understands. And so that was a big hit for me, being like, wow, this is a niche that seriously works. And so from then on, like, it was very much just trying to, I mean, now that I know this inside out since I've had it, I have like an unlimited amount of content. It's just like, how do I angle it?
Yes.
How do I angle it in a way that they realize it's very useful for them? Yeah.
Excellent. So let's talk about your first client. What was it like to get your first paid client in a niche that you built from scratch, really?
So my first client was actually this person who responded to my 15-minute interview post that I made like just 2 weeks before. So it was so random. Like 2 weeks later, this person decides to say, yes, I would like to, go on this market research call. I mean, I didn't phrase it like that, but she still, and it was crazy because I did not expect this person to convert. I was just like, this person gave very neutral responses, very grayed out responses. It wasn't like, yes, I really need to fix this. Compared to, I had those calls where people were like, oh, I really need to fix this. It's such a big problem in my life. And yet, nothing came out of that. Like they would hear what I had to offer, and yet they'd be like, oh, it's money's too much, or oh, maybe not now. And yet this person was just very much, yeah, I guess I would like to do that. Yeah, I mean, so I was just, because of that neutrality, I was a lot more relaxed.
That's probably what sold it. Yeah.
Exactly. It was probably what sold it. And so we went from the 15 minutes to the strategy call, because this person was like, I would like to see what you have to offer. Now this person has done CBT before, which is a very popular method of curing social anxiety or handling it. And so this person is not unfamiliar to this person has definitely put in the work to try to fix it themselves. So this is great. But even during a strategy call, it was just very much neutral. It was very neutral. And the only thing that really stood out was this person was like, yeah, I feel like I've wasted my last 15 years. I wouldn't want to waste the next 15 years.
Wow. That's it right there.
That's it right there. And I was like, okay, gotcha. And I just told what I was going to do. I told how the sessions were going to look like, what the program involved. And I said, yeah, this is the price, but I do the incentive-based pricing. If you do now, like, shave off this much money. And this person was like, okay.
Brilliant.
And the only setback was, she was like, I mean, you are kind of a stranger. I mean, is there anything I can see? I'm like, yeah, I'll send you a contract. Oh, okay. And I said, but haven't you seen my videos? I mean, I because you might be worried that I don't do this. This might not be my actual job. Haven't you seen my videos? And she was like, oh, I haven't actually checked out your profile. So she didn't even check my profile. So I was like, all that was required was a strategy. Convinced her, which made me feel amazing. I was like, wow, okay. She didn't even check out my content, and she wanted to buy. So I immediately felt like, okay, I got this sort of nailed down so far. I'm doing a good job.
The content, is awesome. She booked on the strategy call, but you know, the way that we look at content, and for yourself as well, content is a backup. So like if someone goes to you, imagine someone went to your social media and all they saw was you taking selfies around town, eating food, no content, no YouTube channel, nothing at all, just more about, I'm a coach, I'm awesome, this is why I became a coach. If the strategy call hadn't convinced this lady and she went and looked at your content, the content would have definitely unconvinced her. And that's why when you're creating like the videos you do, the stuff you're doing on YouTube's incredible, on your Facebook page, incredible, using that as like a source of convincing, like, this is who I am, this is what I do. It's not selfies, random pictures, rants, political things. And again, that's just the strategy for social media. So it shows you how powerful the strategy call is, but to have those things as a backup, you know, it's unbeatable. That strategy alone is unbeatable.
Absolutely. I feel so much pride in my Facebook page now.
Mm-hmm.
Again, in the beginning, I was like, oh man, I gotta change my Facebook page. Come on, I don't want to do all this. It's so embarrassing. But now I'm looking at, after doing all of it, I'm just like, look at my Facebook page. I'm so proud of it. I don't want a website. I just want to make a Facebook page. Just go see my Facebook page.
And you never know who's watching it. You know, the amount of times we've had people come to us and say, Scott, I've been watching your stuff for 3 years. That's fine. Lucky I had enough content for them to watch. But it's important. That's why it's always keeping that first in mind. It becomes like your greatest product. It becomes the biggest asset of your business, which is social media, as long as it's not like selfies and all that sort of rubbish that everyone posts. So now that you're growing the business and you're moving forward, how does it compare based on what you learned, you know, through our program compared to what you're doing before? What's the difference?
Oh, I mean, it's ridiculous. I don't even know how. I can't even come up with a witty a bit like comparison. I mean, previously I just felt confused and just, you know, it's like unenthused. Like I was just not excited for anything because it was so convoluted and messy.
Mm-hmm.
And this, whereas here with this program, I felt listened to, heard, I felt understood. I know what I felt. So the difference is, especially a big one, is you target, your niche is coaches and therapists and people who RTT practitioners.
Mm-hmm.
That was just anyone who wants to start an online business, which is just, you know, naturally you're not going to be able to talk about and what works very well for them.
Mm-hmm.
So it was back then for them, I just felt like, I'm a coach, would this be a bit different? Because if I'm doing copywriting, for example, as my online business, that's magnitudes different to just to me being a coach and teaching, walking through someone through the emotional issues. I mean, how can that even be you know, it's just so confusing. And whereas it feels like your program is targeted specifically to me. I feel so understood. I feel like I wake up and I know what I'm supposed to do. You really hammer it in, right? Like, this is how the business is supposed to work. This is how, if you want this to work, it's a system. Don't question it. And oh, do I question it? I mean, sometimes it's just, I'm like, is this gonna work? Maybe I'm different, and you know. But at the end of the day, you have mapped it out so clearly that I wake up and I don't have a question in my mind what I'm supposed to do. I know I'm supposed to be posting certain types of things, doing some research, and it becomes so natural that before, adding people, for example, on Facebook was so much work. And then now it's just like 10 minutes done. I don't even need to look at it, you know?
Yeah,
So
yeah, I had to have that system for myself because I used to wake up very scattered going, where do I start? What's the best thing I should do right now? And I had to systemize my own self because I had bad procrastination. I was scared of everything. I was like you, an awkward, introverted, I probably still am a little bit, introverted person, especially as a kid. Thought of running a business, then the thought of doing social media, thought of doing all of this. I spent hours per day just trying to heal my own head, like trying to figure that out because I thought that was the source for a bad business. But when you don't know what you're doing each day, when you don't have like, okay, it's 9 a.m., I need to do this, 10 a.m. needs to do this, 11, 12, all the way down the line, you end up spending the first half of the day wondering what you should do. And then before long, you're sitting on YouTube for the past 4 hours watching random videos.
Yeah.
Systems are important.
It's
so now that you're working through the business, things are starting to move forward and stuff like that. What are the goals with the business? So you're helping people with social anxiety, getting incredible results with your clients. What's the goal with the business moving forward?
With the business moving forward, I want to just be able to get a consistent amount of clients. I want to, frankly, because I just got my first client, and the progress with her has been astronomical. I've been so excited because before getting the first client, you're just so business minded, like all about the business. I start questioning my abilities to help because I'm not practicing it. But now that I'm doing it, I'm seeing the results and it's amazing. My biggest focus right now is making sure I have a solid program, right? A solid program. And yet no two clients are going to be the same. So I want to be a program that can still apply to many people. And right now the goal is just to possibly hit 5 clients a month. And that's kind of like the short-term goal for now, because I also want to be able to spend enough time working on the program to make sure it's really good. I don't want to just get a bunch of clients and then not know what to do with myself, because I'm sure that that's going to be another, I don't want to be there, because right now, because it's my first client, I'm putting a lot of time and effort into making sure that I just tailor and tweak it so right. But I also know that I can't be doing this level of commitment, like this amount of work, because it's not just the sessions, right? It's like after I'm also doing a bunch of extra stuff as well. So right now, the focus in the next 6 months is to get to a place where I get consistently, reach a place where I can get 5 clients a month, and also really create a very nice, well-rounded program for them.
That's where you scale. That's what a lot of people don't concentrate on. Everybody just wants to get client after client after client. That's not a business model you can scale. That's why we teach you guys end result. If you make this end result so fucking amazing, you can forget about marketing, because the result will sell itself. This lady will work with you, and yeah, you're giving her a lot of your time because you're still working out your MOS process to try and really nail that down. Once this lady leaves your therapeutic advice, she goes out and starts selling it to other people. But if you've got a bad product consistently, no one's going to sell it for you. And that word of mouth just stops. So you're doing the right thing. You're meant to build the business at the start, get your first couple of clients, and then focus all of your attention on how can I wow these clients? How can I create a product that will outsell my competition? Even when I'm 5 or 10 times the price of everybody else, that's what sells. And then the social media just takes care of itself. So it always seems a little bit slow because you sort of have to go straight with the business, then come back, look at the product. But that's what's meant to happen. What makes products and businesses, especially in therapy and coaching, last is the product. It's not the social media. It's not the YouTube videos. They're just an addition to the product itself. If you have an amazing product that heals clients more than they ever expected, you don't have to worry about social media. You don't have to worry about all the tactics. It will sell itself. So you're in the right place. And that's a long-term strategy that you're applying, which is awesome.
Yeah, I'm really excited. I'm just so stoked because I know once I'm finished with her, like this client, and I'm already seeing such phenomenal progress. And once that is done, I would have completed my first business cycle in my head. I'm like, okay, I've got the client, I've done the business, I finished it. Now I think just generally that the way I sell myself, the confidence in which I put myself forward is just gonna skyrocket because I know I can deliver now.
Yeah,
and
you're proving it to yourself. That's the best way to look at things.
Exactly. And then whenever I sell, I have no problems, with the charging, no problems with, being hard selling even more, because I'm like, I can help you. And this is so weird, right? Like, I can help you with your problem. Why are you treating me like I'm, it's so, but I guess that's how every coach feels, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
You just have to prove it to yourself. It's just, you're building a business from scratch. Forget what you did before. That was just an attempt. Now you've got a business. You've proven the model and you've proven your product to be sellable and people actually want it. You now have a business. Now, once this client finishes with your program, you just repeat the process. You just repeat whatever got you that client in the first place. You repeat that. You onboard your next client, and it's just a consistency thing. But in the background, like you said, you always want to be thinking about this product. How can I make this thing even better for the next client? And keep doing that, keep iterating what you do, and you just have a product that sells for the rest of your life.
Absolutely. And that's what I'm so excited, right? Like the product I'm doing, the program, is just me. Remember I told you that after I work in my last industry, whatever I was doing with my brain, with people, that's what I'm doing now as a job. And that is the most exciting thing. It's Excellent. So fun. And so that's why absolutely, like, I'm having so much fun creating the best product. And I've never even heard any coach emphasize the importance of the quality of the product as much as you.
Mm-hmm. Well, it
You keep
turns out, yeah, it's like you can see the contrast for the last program you were in, where it was just concentrated on how can I get Tim Ferriss? How can I get all these celebrities to endorse my product so I get credibility, but the product suffers? You only have so much attention in your day. And this is what business is. You've only got two choices. You concentrate on being like the celebrity, but celebrity doesn't necessarily mean money, or you concentrate on the product. What happens when you become a celebrity and that dies off and people no longer want to be a celebrity with you? You're now left with a shitty product in the same place. What will always win for you guys is product first. This fame and all that stuff can come as a byproduct, but if you concentrate on the product, that'll weather the biggest storm. And that's true of any good business like Amazon, Google. Fantastic product, but most businesses suck when it comes to creating products.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, just seriously, compare any program compared to yours. It's almost like it's too good to be true, which is probably where it's people. It's so hard to like. It would be hard to believe you. It's because it's just hearing the difference. It's just too good to be true.
Yeah, we get that a lot, but that's because the industry is in such a bad place. So any resemblance of results always sounds too good to be true. But at the end of the day, if the product remains sufficient, if you guys are making money, getting clients and helping amazing people, the product speaks for itself. And yeah, you get a bit of that. It'll happen with you as well. You'll have people look at what you're doing, Ash, and they'll say, no, that's too good to be true. I was told by a psychiatrist it will take me 12 months to get over this. And you're saying I can do this in a couple of weeks. Too good to be true. But it plants that seed inside their mind where they think, well, hang on, she's got testimonials. It's working for other people. Maybe I need to go check this thing out. Just like you did for my program. It was just enough just to tip you over the edge. You did your own research, and before long, you're just like your clients, they're signing up to your product.
Absolutely. I'm so excited.
Excellent. So the last question I have for you is any words of advice for anybody watching this, especially being a female entrepreneur, starting a business from scratch, going through all the turmoil you went through before? What advice would you have for these women?
Oh, it's a good one. It's just a lot. I mean, you mentioned this as well in your program, but it's going to take a lot of emotional resilience. In my last industry, made it a point to never sell myself. It made it a point to never put myself in a place of rejection. Okay. And it worked. Because I was lucky enough to build myself a place where I didn't need to ask for jobs, so now having to almost like step in a place where you are constantly rejected, you're constantly putting yourself out there, having people say, certain things towards you, especially having men being really, odd towards you. Mm-hmm. Oh my goodness, that requires you to just, because it's such a contrast. I was actually talking about this with Giuseppe, which is the contrast between your business hat and your therapist hat. Mm-hmm. Where one is like, you want to be so helpful and caring and nurturing, and the other one, you got to just be like, screw you, I'm not gonna think what you have to say. It's just so hard, and words can get you can explain how much resilience it's gonna take.
Anti-fragile is the word.
Anti-fragile, yeah. It's it's tough. And now looking back, it's true, taking the steps. Like, I remember the biggest problem I had was the banner. Mm-hmm. Now looking back, I'm like, oh my goodness.
It's nothing in comparison. Yeah.
It's nothing. Mm. And the person I'm becoming, I just don't even recognize. Like, the more effort you put into it, I don't recognize myself 2 weeks ago, because now I have no problems, sharing my YouTube video and just blasting myself out in terms of sales wise. Hey guys, check this out, check this out. I have no issue, and I would never have thought that I would be there in 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. So I'm no longer asking questions like, if I feel embarrassed, it doesn't seem right. I'm just like, I don't care. Keep moving forward. And my questions are very different. My questions are like, am I doing this the right way? Is there a way I can tweak it to be better, rather than it just seems a bit salesy?
Mm-hmm. Big difference.
Yeah. So it's going to take, a lot of, you're going to feel like you aren't like you're gonna feel like maybe it's not fit for you, that ignore those feelings. Like it's fit for anyone. This whole thing is fit for anyone. If you're a coach, archetype practitioner, it fits you.
Mhm.
And you can make it your own brand, like in terms of, that's like the way the banner. I didn't want to do a black and white banner. Okay, make it a little bit prettier. You know what I mean? Like tweak it. Don't apart from having like being anti-fragile, one last thing would be, don't just stick the course and make it like to fall to the T. That what the course is trying to teach you is the muscle, it's the business muscle and that sense. So don't just always be innovative as well. Like if you have an idea and you think it fits within the structure, go for it. Don't be like, oh no, the course doesn't say it, so I'm not going to do it that way. You know?
That's the T-shaped thing. Those things are there for a reason, because why to do the same thing? You're 100% correct. So that was awesome, Asha. That's so good to see where you've come. And I keep saying this. I wish I could record everybody's strategy call. You have changed so much just in the way that you even speak to me, which is awesome. You go from like this shy, uncertain person to now it's like, Scott, I'm doing this. This is getting done. This is getting done. This is getting done, which is fantastic. So for anybody watching this that's actually suffering from the niche that you're helping, with social anxiety or anxiety in general, that would like to get in touch with Asha, where's the best place they can find you?
You can find me on my Facebook page, facebook.com/Asha Jacob Coaching.
Excellent. I also recommend as well, please go check out Asha's YouTube channel. We'll leave both the links, Asha, below in the description as well. They are amazing. She's even doing stuff with videos that we never thought of as well. So I might be stealing a couple of your little techniques as well, which is cool. But Asha, that is so good to see where you're going. We're going to see you over in the Facebook group. Thank you so much for the interview. And let's just keep going, keep taking action. I look forward to seeing what's going to happen over the next couple of months.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for everything.
Awesome. My pleasure. Thanks, Asha. Bye-bye.
Bye.